Hey guys, so about a week ago, literally the day after last Saturday, I did a video which surprisingly got a lot of views, talking about the college football playoff and everything, and basically how Championship Saturday, tomorrow that is, can screw all that up. Basically, just what you think is going to be legitimate or on the money potentially will change. And so far it's gotten about 178 views, and I thank you guys for that very much. But like I said, I did that video, and I just gave my thoughts on how basically, as the title says, the college football playoff bowl projections could get screwed up on Championship Saturday, again, like I said, being tomorrow. But already, you got people projecting exactly where a lot of teams are going to go. And of course, these projections have been going on since about late October and throughout all of last month as well, as to who they believe is going to end up in what bowl games. Now, the New Year's Day 6 bowl games are a little hard to project because, again, those mostly, above all bowl games, before and schedule-wise a little afterwards, those bowl games in general really are dependent on the outcome of the championships that are decided tonight, because there is one tonight. I think that's the Pac-12, and tomorrow. I think there's one or two tonight, two conference championships tonight. One that's not really, important in the grand scheme of things, but there is the Pac-12 one tonight, and mostly that will determine who goes to the Rose Bowl. Who they face, that's going to be determined tomorrow, because again, you have Michigan, going up against Iowa, and like I said, Iowa could come out and beat them, and that could throw the whole potential playoff scenario for Michigan into absolute chaos, to the point that, Michigan will get into a New Year's Day game, but they'll more essentially get into the Rose Bowl game, seeing as though they are the only logical choice out of that scenario. Now, you might say, well, Iowa's going to win. Iowa should go, right? Yeah, Iowa should go, but knowing Iowa in their record, they're likely to probably go to the Rose Bowl if they beat Michigan, but then again, Michigan being where they are potentially could end up in the Rose Bowl in their place, and Iowa as a consolation prize, even though they'll be the conference champions, could probably end up in the Orange Bowl, or they could end up in the Peach Bowl or whatever as a constellation. That even though they're the Big Ten champions, they could end up there, while Michigan with the higher record and the higher ranking could end up in the Rose Bowl spot. So even though today's Pac-12 championship game is going to determine exactly who goes to the Rose Bowl between Utah and Oregon, who they face is going to be up in the air. It could be one of these three Big Ten teams: Iowa, Michigan, Ohio State. It all depends. Maybe even Michigan State, you want to throw them in there. But again, it all depends on what occurs tomorrow in the Big Ten title game. And the same goes with the SEC title game. A lot of people are projecting Georgia is going to get in, and they're going to face Oklahoma State, who a lot of people are projecting is going to win the Big 12 championship, in their game against Baylor. But like I said, a lot of that can get thrown into influx and create complete chaos, if you will, when it's all said and done, because what you project right now could get turned upside down and on its head. Alabama, like I said in the previous video, they're known to come out when it matters the most and really, take their opponents to the limits. And in this case, if it's Georgia and it's for the SEC title, then expect Alabama to give Georgia a fight that they're never going to forget. Even if Georgia wins, they're not going to be the same. Yeah, they'll get the high number one ranking and seeding in the playoff, but basically because of the fact that they were given a huge test and taken to the wire by the Crimson Tide, that could not only give Alabama sort of a sort of a lead-in or, a potential wild card position to be put into the playoff. But, it could maybe essentially set up a matchup about a month later or later this month between the two. Alabama could end up taking Oklahoma State's spot against Georgia, and we could have a rematch from the SEC title game. I'm just saying. So a lot of the New Year. So basically, a majority of the New Year's Day 6 bowl games are very dependent, not just on tonight's Pac-12 championship between Oregon and Utah, but on the other championship games that take place tomorrow night. However, that's not what I'm here to talk about, as I know I'm about, let me check here, my finger just hit the mic, I do apologize. As I'm about 5 minutes and 45 seconds in, that's not what I'm here to talk about. As the title says, I'm going to talk about some of the non-New Year's Day 6 bowl projections that are being put out there. Yes, you have people that are projecting who they see going into some of these New Year's Day bowl games after tomorrow. But again, like I said, that could all change. However, the ones that they're looking at from the non-New Year's Day 6 bowl perspective seem more legitimate, more realistic, if you will, than what is being projected for the New Year's Day 6 bowls. And I got to give credit to Action Network. Action Network, I think, is their name. I got to give credit to them. I think it's Action Network. Let me see. I think they're here somewhere. Yeah, actionnetwork.com. I got to give them credit for this. They're the ones that put this projection out. I think the person that put the projection out for them, let me check. I think the person that put the projection out for them 15 hours ago, as of right now, it's about 11:51 a.m. Brett Murphy put this out on the 3rd, which is today. Yeah, the 3rd. He put this, he updated it. He originally put it out 15 hours prior, but he updated it about, it looks like, I would say, about an hour ago, just a little less than an hour ago, he updated it, because there was an announcement that the NCAA has waived a decision. Now, by April, all decisions as far as, the bowl games are concerned, like which bowl games are going to be, a part of the postseason, how many teams are going to be allowed to get in there. Well, the waiver usually is deadlined to expire or be submitted, if you will, by April. And, they did that. But what happened is that Hawaii, the Rainbow Warriors, basically got bowl eligible. They got bowl eligible by going 6-7. Yeah, that's right. 6-7 is their record. Now you might say, how is that bowl eligible? That's not bowl eligible. They shouldn't even have a bowl. Well, here's where it gets interesting. You see, in college football, if you have 6 wins, you're eligible. You have a winning season. I know it doesn't make sense, but as long as you have 6 wins, no matter how many losses you have, you are eligible. You could have 7 losses. You could have 8 losses. As long as you have 6, you're qualifying. That's it. And I know that's something they should change up. They should, in my honest opinion, they should change it up. They should say as long as, you have a 6-6 record, which is the limit or the qualification, you're bowl eligible. But if you go and get one more loss on your record, then you're not. It should count just as much as a 5-7 record, does when it comes to teams that want to get into bowl games. That if you're 5-7, forget it. You're not getting into a bowl game. But if you're 6-6, then again, that does qualify you. So I do understand some people might be a little frustrated by, this announcement that even though it's not a very important bowl game, if you will, in the eyes of a lot of people, not a very essential bowl or quintessential bowl, whatever. as far as like the eyes are concerned, of the college football world. But basically, it is, it is something that should be looked at, as for reconsideration. Like again, like I said, I believe what they should do is reconsider the decision that even if you have have 6 wins, that your qualification should be 6 and 6, and that's it. That's what your qualification should be. It should be 6 and 6, and that's the limit. No additional loss it will allow you to get in. That's just my opinion. Just my opinion. But because of the fact that the Rainbow Warriors got 6 wins, and until something changes, they are basically bowl eligible. And because of that, the NCAA had to waiver the decision they made back in April, and thus they had to now go from essentially 82 games or 82 teams being eligible to 84. So instead of having 41 bowl games, they now have 42. And the additional bowl game is going to take place in Frisco, Texas, but they've yet to call it or give it a proper name. My assumption is it's going to maybe be the Frisco. Well, they have the Frisco Bowl already, so my assumption it's got to be they'll probably come up with something like, let's say, the Star Bowl or something. I don't know. Maybe that's the name they give it. I don't know. Now, here's the bowl eligible 6 and 6 teams that are going to get in there. The ones that are 6 and 6, not 6 and 7, and all that. According to Brett Murphy, these are the teams that are listed with 6 and 6 records. He says the additional bowl game in Frisco guarantees all 84 bowl eligible teams will be able to play in a bowl. Before Thursday's news, one team with a 6 and 6 record among Ball State, Miami of Ohio, North Texas, Old Dominion, and Wyoming would have had to stay home. Now they will all go bowling. And, I think we can all chalk this up to the fact that last year, during the bowl season, there was an exemption. There was an exemption to, bowl eligibility because of COVID. And it meant that even if you had a 4 and 8 record or a 4 and 7 record, hey, you want to go bowling? Here's your opportunity. You're not going to get it again. Here's your opportunity. And the reason they did that is because a lot of schools opted out because of safety reasons. Even if the athletes wanted to go bowling, they couldn't because the school said, nope, you ain't going bowling for your own health and safety. Nope. You're not going bowling. Forget it. I mean, even if a team, let's say, had an 8 and 4 record, like let's say, for example, just throwing it out there, let's say 8 and 4, San Jose State. Yeah, San Jose State got to a bowl game last year. They were happy to get it. But let's say San Jose State, who's not going bowling this year, but they did last year. Let's say San Jose State, was 8 and 4, right? And even though they became the Mountain West Conference champions, let's say, despite all those accomplishments, the athletic department said, nope, you ain't going to a bowl game. You're not taking no invitation. And the San Jose State players are like, why? We earned it. And the people at San Jose State's athletic department could be like, the reason is because of your health and safety. We don't want any of you contracting COVID. For your own safe and healthiness, we are basically banning you this year from going bowling. And what does that do? What does that do for any other teams that would have been out in the cold? That opens the door. So the NCAA last year made the correct and only decision they could make by saying, hey, you want in? You're in. And that's what happened. You had 4 and 8 teams. You had 5 and 7 teams, getting in there. I think you even had 3 and 9 teams getting in there. All because, safety reasons. All because of the impact COVID had. But now, since that was only a once-in-a-lifetime scenario, for right as we speak, now you have it back to pretty much the normal formula. But because of the impact COVID had, and the fact that a lot of these teams, even though they had bowl-eligible records, couldn't go bowling last year, mainly due to COVID, basically they decided, you know what? let's not leave anybody out. Let's give everybody that has a bowl eligible record, even if they have an additional loss, let's give them an opportunity to go bowling. And here we are. So anyway, that's what's going on. So now all the 6-6 and in 6-7 teams are bowl eligible. But the question is, where are they along with the 7-5, 8-4, 9-3, 10-2, 11-1, teams going? Where are they going? Those that are not involved in the scenario of the New Year's Day 6. Well, according to Brett Murphy, this is where he sees a lot of these teams going, projection-wise, as of today. As of today, in the past 15 hours, and mostly in the past hour, if you will, this is where he sees them going. This is where he sees them going as I check something here. Yeah, I'm at 15 minutes, almost 16 minutes, so I do apologize before I got to this. And my hand touched the mic there. I do apologize. But this is where Brett feels that, a lot of these teams are going. And to me, as of right now, these are probably the most logical projections for these teams. Now, we're going to... well, the way this is going, we're going to start at the beginning. We're going to start at the beginning. The additional bowl game, which he referred to as the new unnamed Texas Bowl, which I'm assuming is going to be the Star Bowl or something. I'm not really sure. It's going to be in Texas. The date and time is yet to be determined. But he's projecting, as of right now, Tulsa versus North Texas, which I would agree is a logical possibility. So he's going with the new additional bowl game in Frisco. He's going with Tulsa taking on Texas. Now, the official bowl season starts on the 17th. Basically starts in about 2 weeks. And the first bowl game he's projecting, to have teams in it, is the Bahamas Bowl. And the two teams he's projecting in the Bahamas Bowl is Middle Tennessee versus Toledo. And that possibly could happen, so I can definitely see that happening. The next bowl game, which is also on the 17th, outside of the Bahamas Bowl, as I look here for a second, is the Cure Bowl. It is the Cure Bowl in Orlando, Florida. And he's projecting in the Cure Bowl UTSA, that's University of Texas San Antonio, against Coastal Carolina. So he's projecting so for the first day officially of the bowl season, for the Bahamas Bowl, he's projecting Middle Tennessee and Tulsa. I mean, not Tulsa, but, okay, let me correct myself. In the Bahamas Bowl, and these are the first, okay, let me start over here. For the new additional bowl game, which is yet to be announced as to when it's going to take place, he's going with Tulsa and North Texas. That's the new additional bowl game in Texas. He's going with Tulsa and North Texas. And then officially, when it all starts on the 17th in 2 weeks, he's going with Middle Tennessee and Toledo in the Bahamas Bowl. Then he's going with UTSA, University of Texas San Antonio, and Coastal Carolina in the Cure Bowl, which, he might be right on the money with that, even though UTSA has an 11-1 record. They might get a little higher in bowl games, like later on, like date-wise, they might get a bowl game later down the line. But right now, he's projecting UTSA in Coastal Carolina, and that might be on the money. That might happen, but we'll see. They might get something else. But that's the Cure Bowl. That's the Cure Bowl, if you will. That's what he's projecting there. Next up, we have the roof. We have the next day, which is Saturday, and Saturday is usually a big day for bowl games as they land on that day. He's going with, for the roofclaim.com for the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl, or we'll just call it the roofclaim.com Bowl. He's going with Western Carolina. I mean, not Western Carolina. He's going with Western Kentucky. He's going with Western Kentucky versus Appalachian State, and that potentially could happen. So for the roofclaim.com Bowl, He's going with Western Kentucky versus Appalachian State. And that's on Saturday, December 18th. These are the December 18th bowls. Then following that, for the New Mexico Bowl, he's going with Nevada versus UTEP. For the Lending Tree Bowl, he's going with Central Michigan versus Liberty. For the Independence Bowl, which is going to be airing a lot early, or happening and airing a lot earlier than it normally does. I mean, the Independence Bowl is like, towards the end of December. It's like almost a day before New Year's Eve or something like that. But here it's on the 18th. The Independence Bowl is going to have BYU and UAB, even though BYU might get a higher ranked bowl game. We'll see. And then following that, he's going with, let's see what bowl game this is. Okay, so to wrap up the Saturday day bowl games, he's for the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. Yep, Jimmy Kimmel is sponsoring the LA Bowl. He projects Oregon State, San Diego State, which sounds like it's a good projection, but it all depends on if San Diego State wins the Mountain West. We'll see. Then for the New Orleans Bowl, which caps off the Saturday, December 18th day of bowl games, he's going with, for the New Orleans Bowl, he's going with, let me see if I can get it back up here. Where is it? He's going with Marshall versus Louisiana. So he's going with that. That's to close out the first 2 days of bowl games, the 17th and 18th. Then on Monday, December 20th, we only have one bowl game, and that's their Myrtle Beach Bowl from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. He's going with Old Dominion versus Ball State. Then the next day, we have two bowl games. The first one is the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, and he's going with Eastern Michigan versus Fresno State. Again, all depending on what happens in the Mountain West Conference Championship. And then to close out that day, we have the Frisco Bowl, and he's going with Air Force versus Missouri. Then, on the 22nd, which only has one bowl game, that being a Wednesday, he has the Armed Forces Bowl. He's going with Louisville versus Army, which I could see happening, Louisville being in that game. And then on the 23rd, which is a Thursday, he's going for the Union Home Mortgage Gasoline Bowl, or I'm just going to call it the Union Home Mortgage Bowl, in Tampa, Florida. He's got Florida versus UCF, Florida versus UCF, which is a good decision, to project for, because it's in Florida, it's in Tampa, not that far away from all the locations, and it's mostly like a home game for the Knights. So there you go. So he's projecting for the Union Home Mortgage Bowl, Florida versus UCF, which is a good projection. Then on Christmas Eve, because yes, we will have a Christmas Eve Bowl, and that is the Hawaii Bowl, the Easy Post Hawaii Bowl, which will not be taking place in Aloha Stadium because they closed that down. Instead, it's going to take place in the temporary home of the Rainbow Warriors, which is the, I think it's called the Sports Complex. It's got some kind of name to it. The Hawaii Bowl, it's going to be Hawaii versus Memphis. There's a good projection there. And then on Christmas Day, yes, we have a Christmas Day Bowl. We have the Camellia Bowl. The Camellia Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. Montgomery, Alabama. The Camellia Bowl. He's projecting Georgia State versus Miami of Ohio. That's probably going to happen. I actually put money on that. Then 2 days later, on the 27th, for the Quick Lane Bowl, he's projecting Wyoming versus Western Michigan, again dependent on the MAC championship. And then also on the 27th, he projects for the Military Bowl, Virginia versus East Carolina. Then on the 28th, for the Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl, he's projecting Auburn versus SMU. Then for the First Responder Bowl, which closes out the Tuesday bowl games, For the First Responder Bowl on the 28th, he's got Utah State versus Kent State in the First Responder Bowl. So that closes out the 28th, the December 28th bowls. And, well, actually, no. We actually have three more. Holy shit. It doesn't close it out. We still got more to go. So, correction. Let me correct myself. We have 2 bowl games on the 27th. The Military Bowl, which he's projecting Virginia versus East Carolina. And the Quick Lane Bowl, which he's projecting Wyoming versus Western Michigan. Again, all dependent on the MAC championship that Quick Lane Bowl game is. And then, like I said, for the First Responder Bowl, he's got Utah State versus Kent State. And then for the Birmingham Bowl, he's got Auburn versus SMU. Then continuing on, because we got more bowl games. We got more bowl games here, friends. For the Liberty Bowl, he's got Texas Tech versus Mississippi State. Also on the 28th, that is. And then for the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, he's got Minnesota versus West Virginia. Then for the Holiday Bowl, he's got North Carolina State versus UCLA. And that's in San Diego. It's going to be at a complex. It's going to be, I think, at the Petco Park, I think. And then that pretty much closes out the Tuesday bowl game. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bowl games on Tuesday. So to go over the Tuesday bowl games, but the Birmingham Bowl, he's got Auburn versus SMU. And then for the First Responder Bowl, he's got Utah State versus Kent State. For the Liberty Bowl, he's got Mississippi State, Texas Tech. The Guaranteed Rate Bowl, he's got Minnesota, West Virginia. And then for the Holiday Bowl, he's got North Carolina versus UCLA. Then on Wednesday, how many bowl games do we got on Wednesday? It looks... are we missing a few bowl games here? Because usually they do more than... Usually they have some on the 30th, don't they? Are we missing out on some bowl games here? Let me double check and everything. Sorry guys, that was just my new manager telling me to come in, asking me to come in tomorrow at 8. So he's got my employee ID going. But like I said, what was I doing? Oh yeah. Sorry.
It's 12:11 p.m. Have a good afternoon.
Yeah, that's the Alexa going off. Yeah, here we go. I knew we missed some bowl games here. I don't know why they didn't copy. That was weird. That was weird there. But anyway, we have the Fenway Bowl, which starts on Wednesday, December 29th. It's Boston College versus Houston. And then we have also following that, he has in the New Era Pinstripe Bowl, he has Virginia Tech versus Maryland. So I'll make sure I get everything right here. Oh yeah, I got it. I got the games. I was thinking, where are they? I forget they're on another page here. So this is Maryland, and then the let's see, what was I? Okay, so the next one, he has Iowa State in. Which one is that? Okay, the Cheez-It Bowl, he has Clemson versus Iowa State. And then on the 29th, he has the Alamo Bowl, Oklahoma versus Oregon. Again, all depending on tomorrow, guys. All depending. But he's projecting Oklahoma there. But it's all dependent on tomorrow. So that's the 29th. So on the 29th, he has... for the Fenway Bowl, Boston College versus Houston. For the New Era Pinstripe Bowl, he has Virginia Tech versus Maryland. And then for the Cheez-It Bowl, he has Clemson versus Iowa State. Then also he has for the Alamo Bowl, Oklahoma versus Oregon. Again, all dependent, guys, on tonight and tomorrow. Just think about that. All dependent on tonight and tomorrow. Then on the 30th, on December 30th, which is a Thursday, the Las Vegas Bowl, he has Penn State versus Arizona State. Then in the Duke's Mayo Bowl, he has North Carolina versus South Carolina in North Carolina. That's a good projection. A Carolina Bowl, if you will. Music City Bowl, he's got Purdue versus Tennessee. Then in the Sun Bowl, that's the bowl games for December 30th. So it's only 3 bowl games on December 30th. He has Penn State, Arizona State in the Las Vegas Bowl, North Carolina versus South Carolina in the Mayo Bowl, and Purdue versus Tennessee in the Music City Bowl. So that's pretty cool. And then we have the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. Oh, and this is on New Year's Eve. Yeah, they called it the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. He's got Miami versus Washington State. And then on New Year's Eve as well, for the Gator Bowl, he has Wake Forest versus Texas A&M. Then the Arizona Bowl, he has Northern Illinois versus Boise State. And that closes out New Year's Eve. So for the Sun Bowl, he's got, like I said, he's got Miami, Washington State. For the Gator Bowl, he has Wake Forest versus Texas A&M. And for the Arizona Bowl, he's got Northern Illinois versus Boise State. Then, for the New Year's Day games, the non-New Year's Day 6 bowl games, he has, and there were only 2 on New Year's Day that are non-New Year's Day 6. He has Wisconsin versus Arkansas, and he has Iowa versus Kentucky. Again, just like with the Oklahoma-Oregon projection for the Alamo Bowl, it's all dependent. It's all dependent on the bowl games. That's what it's dependent on. Because even if Oklahoma State doesn't win against Baylor tomorrow, what I'm trying to say is, if Oklahoma State loses against Baylor tomorrow, that opens the door for Oklahoma to get in, even with their record. And the same goes for Iowa. Iowa is projected for the Citrus, but that could all change if they beat Michigan. And then on January 4th, the Texas Bowl in Houston, Texas. He's projecting Kansas State and LSU on January 4th. So those are basically his projections for the non-New Year's Day 6 bowl games, if you will, the non-New Year's Day 6 bowl games. And, they're not bad projections. I can see a lot of them actually happening. But again, when you look at Oklahoma, Oregon, Alamo Bowl, and Iowa versus Kentucky, those are all dependent on tonight and tomorrow. Because you see, even though Oklahoma's not in the Big 12 championship, their opportunity to get into a New Year's Day 6 bowl game is dependent on if Baylor beats Oklahoma State. Because if Baylor can beat Oklahoma State, both of them have beaten Oklahoma, then basically that opens the door in a way for Oklahoma to get into a New Year's Day 6 bowl game. A very slight opening, but it will be there. But overall, the projections, again, most of them I could see actually happening, but some of them are all dependent on the conference championships. I don't know who that is. It's a wrong number, 905. Sorry, guys. This thing was... You recognize that number? Anyway, though, sorry about that. But anyway, like I said, the projections I do see, most of them actually potentially happening. Again, it all depends, as I was saying before the phone interrupted me there. I could see some of them, changing because what happens tonight and tomorrow. So, with that said, though, guys, I just wanted to come on here and read off these projections that Brett Murphy at Action Network has given. Mostly in addition with the new bowl game that's been put out there. What do you guys think about them? Do you think do you think Brett Murphy has a legitimate claim to some of these actually happening? Or do you think, honestly, there's a good chance he could be wrong and some of them will change? I mean, we all know, like I said, it all depends on the outcome of tonight's Pac-12 title game and tomorrow's Big Ten, Big 10, SEC, Big 12 championship games as well. But But what do you guys think? Comment below, live chat during the premiere, like the video. Check me out at my Teespring store, especially now it's Christmas time. Check it out there. Also, check me out at BW Roses Discussions on all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora. Also, check me out at BW Roses on VENMO, also on Venmo as well if you want to help donate there at Brian-Walmer-2. As well as check me out at patreon.com/BW Roses to help donate there as well. If you want to choose certain tiers to back up, if you will. But until next time, guys, let me know what your thoughts are. I am out.